Hello, rock and roll. Welcome back. Welcome back to Jay's Rock and Roll Stories. I'm your host, Jay. Hey there. I got a surprise for you. You know how we're always at the same area of the buffet, you know, the 1965 to the 1970, 71, 72 area of the buffet. We're going to look down the buffet. We'll look at the very end. Oh, way at the end of the buffet. It says Death Metal. What the hell is that? Let's walk over there. Let's walk way over there. Welcome. Yeah. What the hell is Death Metal? Let's do it. Let's jump in. Tell you the truth. It's not my cup of tea, but I don't hate anything. I honestly don't hate anything. And I don't mind visiting different parts of the buffet. I found this really great book. The book is called Choosing Death, The Improbable History of Death Metal and Grindcore by Albert Mudrian, introduction by John Peel. I don't know. I was at the library one day. I saw this book. I was like, yeah, I'm intrigued. And I picked it up. I started reading. It's pretty fucking cool, man. And I did some homework. I've been listening to some death metal throughout the week. I still have to repeat, it's not my cup of tea, but I don't hate it. I think it's kind of cool. You know, it's like, I don't know, maybe you're really into like Westerns or something, but every once in a while you'll watch like a horror film or something. Anyway, what is death metal? So we got to put ourselves in like a reference point here. So this is a post 1977. It's after Sex Pistols punk rock. You know, it's after punk. Sort of like it's after punk rock. There was like these bands, mostly Crass and Discharge, and they were like the very like political anarchy type punk rock band. So this is right after this. This is basically everything we're talking about is around 1981 to like 1986, more or less. So it's kind of like, how would you say it? Noisy sounds of social and political protest of disgruntled United UK youths. What mattered was righteous anger, velocity, speed. Proficiency was the afterthought of the whole thing. Aggressive music where UK youths express themselves. Right? So it's so let's go to 1981, 1982, around that area. There's this guy called Nicholas Bullen. He starts a band with a steady lineup in a small English town called Meriden. He starts a band called Napalm Death. So I've been listening to Napalm Death all freaking week. It's a lot different than listening to like some Carlos Santana, I tell you. All right, the name came from Bullen and his friend, another member of the band. His name was Rat, Miles Ratledge. They called him Rat. They were both in love with the film Apocalypse Now. They loved that film. They named their band Napalm Death. They're mostly influenced by like those, you know, anarchy type punk bands. Crass, Discharge, who that's like right after Sex Pistols kind of a thing. They played like faster. So Napalm Death, they get on a compilation record off of Crass's record label. The album is called Bullshit Detector. That's a little bit of exposure they got right in the beginning, called the Crucifixion of Possessions. It's a tape that gets circulated at gigs, also like with pen pals. People are trading the tapes, and tape traders, like it's kind of a big thing. People are trading tapes. The guys that Ballin and a Rat, they say that they had done 3 or 4 demos, but it wasn't really for like a record company. They just made a tape. They didn't have a label or anything. So they'd write like 6 letters a night, get together, do all these tape tradings with other people, Been trading tapes from people all over the world for like 2 or 3 years already by 1982. And they'd acquired like Swedish thrash metal, American thrash, old American punk bands, like trading tapes. They had a lot of friends in like this tape trading scene. And I think this is kind of cool because it's the same concept of like Deadheads, Fish Heads, trading tapes, recording at a show and trading with other people, like putting an ad in like a magazine. Oh yeah, I'm looking for this. I want this. I'll trade for this. Same concept. No money transactions. It's just for the love of the music. These 2 guys also had fanzines that they'd created. It's what they love, It's all done for the music. So, back to our story here. There's this dude named Digby Pearson who starts putting on shows during at community centers. Digby puts on these shows all over the town, all these little community centers, and it's all of these these kind of like punk rock bands that were found through this trading idea. So Digby gets Napalm Death to do their first show, outside the Birmingham area. These kids were all like 14, 15 years old, the members of Napalm Death, 14, 15 years old. And at this point, they're playing faster. So it's just like the concept is like, how fast can we do this? You go see one band, you listen to them. I got to be faster than that band. Like that. I think it's fascinating because it's the same human idea with working on a car or any kind of hobby or project, like just to be better than the one you're doing. So it's like, there's nothing, it's not a monetary, urge. It's like, I want to get better. I want to be better than this. So, there's so many bands to name. It's all going on at the same time. There's another band called Hearsay, and there's another band called Extreme Noise Terror. It's all basically the same idea, and I think it's a very incestual thing where members join this band, they break up, they go with this band, but the concept is just to play as fast as you possibly fucking can. The drummers try to play as fast as they fucking can. That's where the term blast beat comes from. The music is what would be called a 64th note. It's very, very fast. One of the new drummers of Napalm Death, he terms it grindcore. That's where he calls it this extremely fast drumming, grindcore. All this happens at this shitty little bar called the Mermaid. 2 drummers, one from each band, one in Napalm Death, one in Hearsay, both kind of egging each other on, when a band goes, let's say Napalm Death goes on and the drummer is doing as fast as he can, then they come off, Hearsay goes on, he's trying to do faster. So they're trying to outdo each other. It's like playing chicken, it's a race, it's zooping up your, Camaro. This is 1981, right? So, it's who can be fastest. It's getting pretty cool. This is 1985. There's a magazine called Metal Forces, a magazine where there's a section called Pen Bangers. People are just posting, ads like, it's tape trading. I want this. Do you have this? Very specific. 1986, Napalm Death records at Rich Bitch Studio in Birmingham. The band scraped together enough money to record it, And the tape trading is very serious with this community. Shane Embry, that's the Napalm Death's bass player, he explains that he was literally living in front of his tape deck, like sometimes 8 hours a day from morning to like afternoon. He knows that he would spend between about 30 to 40 cassettes per week, sending them out, just trying to get out there, right? So they record. It's about 120 pounds that they spent, booked for 2 days. The material they would record would become the A side for their debut album, Scum, Napalm Death Scum. But really, it had no other reason originally as it's just a demo. Like they did it as a demo. They weren't signed. Everyone stays at the bass player Jim Wheatley's place. It's a small apartment in a 92 apartment block. People are just coming in and out. There's visitors all the time. He says at one point there's like 20 to 30 people just like in that fucking apartment trying to play, either hanging out or sleeping or trying to find a place just to sit down. So the book also talks about the same speed guitar playing wants or urges that are happening overseas. Like it's happening at the same time in the United States. We're going to go right now to Boston, Massachusetts. And same time, let's do 1981, 82. Same shit's happening. With a band called Deep Wound and also a band called Siege. And the same desire to just play faster and faster and faster. This guy, Robert Williams, he's the drummer of Siege, talks about how there was a time when they made a deliberate decision to set out to be the absolute fastest band in the world. And he called it his speed training. This is his speed training to get fast as he can. He would put on AC/DC's album Highway to Hell, like the record, but you push that little 45 button, beep. You ever do that? You put a record on, you press the 45 button, and then it's like everything's Alvin and the Chipmunks, So that's what he's doing. He's listening to an AC/DC album, but set on the 45. So it's, Jesus Christ, it's fast. Very, very fast. Right. So he would put on his headphones and play drums to keep up with the AC/DC set, the 45. He's just like, we need to be faster. We need to be faster than this. Some of these bands are very short-lived, It's Deep Wound, this band called Deep Wound. They sort of splintered to a band called Outpatients. The other half formed a band called Dinosaur, which would go on to be called Dinosaur Jr. Have you ever heard of that band? So 1983, let's jump up north a little bit to Flint, Michigan. We see the creation of a band called Tempter. And unlike the other bands whose lyrics consisted of just things covering personal and political topics, these guys drew more inspiration from like the goriest of gore horror films and slasher films. They changed their name to Ultraviolence, and then they changed it to Genocide. I'm just a million names in this fucking episode. Genocide. So Genocide, so they're into like horror films and shit, and they're also into tape trading as well. Everyone, it's just like I find that fascinating when something picks up and everyone's doing it at the same. That's just that human connection. Let's just call it the universal tone. Could we? So there's this guy. They connect with this guy in Florida called Chuck Schulder, who has a death metal band called Death. And with his failing members, they decide to merge the two groups. All right, so those bands merge together, but it doesn't work out. So the two Flint, Michigan guys who travel down to Florida to rock out, they go back to Flint, and they find a drummer who was he has a past record of getting arrested for robbing shit. And they're like, yeah, perfect. This one's great. This is a good drummer. 1986, Genocide enters the studio at public radio station WFBE to record their first demo. This book really declares Genocide as the fastest band in the world. They record, it gets all the way, the recording gets all the way to England. It follows the, we need to play faster than that. You know, it's like, I could call this car culture, you know, like racing your car, zooping up your car. It's the same thing. Genocide changes their name to Repulsion in May of 86. All these bands keep changing their damn names. But, I mean, what's the topic? Bands fast as we can play and like topping you. You know what I mean? It's a one-upmanship. Let's go in 1982. San Pablo, California. A band begins by the name of Possessed. And by 1984, they signed a contract with a little record label called Combat Records. They create their album called Seven Churches. And this guy who starts the band, his name is Jeff Becerra. He lives on a farm. And he always refers to the album Seven Churches as Seven Chickens, because he talks about how he lived on a farm. And he talks about how whenever I would play death metal, the chickens would run to the other side of the farm. Here's a quote from Jeff Becerra. He says, "Death metal scares the fuck out of people. 99% will hate you, animals included." So the band is called Possessed. They make an album called Seven Churches. And it is considered like overtly dark, violent, thrash-paced album. It's considered to be the first proper LP to feature what would become standard growling death metal vocals for the genre. So think about how Iron Maiden, that lead singer, he would get really high. You know, he would sing like that. But this is the first time when he's doing that kind of shit. So you could say Jeff Becerra, you could say he coined the term death metal, because on that album Seven Churches, the closing song on Seven Churches is titled Death Metal. That's the name of a song. Another quote from our buddy Jeff Becerra, he says, I came up with that during English class, death metal. He talks about how in high school, he came up with that term. He says, I figured speed metal, black metal were already taken, so what the fuck? So I said death metal. We were playing this music, and we were trying to be the heaviest thing on the face of the planet. We wanted just to piss people off and send everyone home. And, you know, and that can't be like flower metal. There you go, death metal. Another big influence in the genre is a band simply called Death. We just talked about that a second ago, right? And the record they made was called Scream Bloody Gore. This is 1986. From the magazine Metal Forces, describing the album Scream Bloody Gore, he says, Scream Bloody Gore is death metal at its most extreme, brutal, raw, offensive. The kind that separates the true death metalers from the countless trend-following wimps. Just one listen will have you either thrashing around your room like a mindless maniac or heading for the nearest toilet in disgust. If anything, it should be certainly established the band as one of the heaviest acts on the earth. Wow, okay. So, here's a little turn here. Another band called Morbid Angel. This is around the same time. It's all around the same time. Let's just say 82 to 86. And the leader of the band, his name is George Emmanuel III. He explains how his band was just as fast as the next one, just as fast, but he's more focused on having a cool logo, cool shirts, merchandise, something that really gets the imagery out there, you know. He wants to have some kind of message, an intended meaning. He explains he's always wanted it to be about the real magic about life and the idea of spiritualism. He will embrace, for example, Azagoth. Azagoth is a blind, mad god of abomination, and he will take that name. What was his name? His name is George Emmanuel III. We're going to change that name, right? That's not very tough. So he changes his name to Trey Azagoth. That's much better. Come on, man. If you're going to be in a death metal band, you're not going to be called George Emmanuel III. It's royalty or some shit. No. Lead singer of Morbid Angel. This is going to be Trey Azagoth. Much cooler. All right, so he's lyrically inspired by the satanic book, the Necronomicon. This band also performs some self-mutilation on stage, to really get the crowd going. They will cut themselves up with razor blades, shit like that. Oh, one of the guys, Trey, he'd also eat worms on stage. All right, I've been reading this book for the whole damn week, and so I'm gonna let you do a little choose your own adventure homework here. So your homework assignment, you got a choice. All right, so I don't know what I usually say YouTube. Why? Because I don't know who doesn't know what YouTube is. But if you don't use YouTube, use Spotify. I don't give a shit. Anyway, so homework assignment. So your choice. You can do either the album Scream Bloody Gore by the band Death. You can do the album Scum by Napalm Death. You can do the album Holocaust in Your Head by Extreme Noise Terror. Or you can take Altars of Madness by Morbid Angel. All right, one of those. Listen to one of those. I'm going to wrap it up for now. It's cool. And I don't dislike it. A couple times I put on at work and just go with the flow. Interesting, it's interesting to have a bite on a different area of the buffet. Give it a shot. I'm gonna go with Holocaust in Your Head by Extreme Noise Terror. It sounds intriguing. I want to find out what that's all about. So you know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna treat my death metal episodes as the weekend horror movie. You go to school Monday through Friday, you come home, you do Friday you don't have to do homework, but then Saturday, finally we can watch a horror movie, you can stay up and watch a movie and eat pizza. Maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe I'll come back every once in a while and I'll catch up on my death metal. But I think I'm going to take a break from death metal for now and move on to something else. I have something for you. I have a story that I want to do. And so thank you for sticking around. A little different. Come on. No big deal, right? We did something different. So thanks for sticking around. Thanks for listening. And I'll come back and do another death metal episode. So what are you going to listen to? I'm going to do the Extreme Noise Terror one. You choose. What do you want? Death, Scream Bloody Gore, Napalm Death, Scum, or Death Leprosy? Anyway, thank you. Thank you for sending your emails to jaysrockandrollstories at proton.me. jaysrockandrollstories at proton.me. Okay, everyone. Thanks for coming, and I'll see you next time. See you later.